That's bad.
Yeah, it means for sure it's going to happen. God be with you. Welcome to worship this morning at Hillhurst United Church, whether you are joining us online, which people do from various places around the world. Special shout out to Diane, who's in Enderby, and Glenn, who's in a hospice this morning. Some people are on holiday, some people are at home, some people are ill, some people just choose to be on worship online. We welcome you to our place. We hope you'll say the land in which you reside. I would like to invite Doug Schroeder to come forward. We're asking people to share their own land acknowledgement, and Doug is offered today, so welcome, Doug.
Please take a moment to settle into your body wherever you're sitting, whether you're online or in the church. Maybe close your eyes if that helps you focus, or lower your gaze to the floor. Feel the chair or the pew beneath you, supporting your weight, your seat, your back. Feel your feet connected to the floor, planted there. And imagine roots growing from your feet through your socks and shoes, through the floor and into the earth. Imagine those roots intermingling with the mitochondrial web beneath you, connecting you to all living things. With your imagination, visualize the original peoples living in this place centuries ago, this place where the two rivers meet, or wherever you are online. Can you see these people living and working and playing in this place centuries past? Take a moment to engage your imagination. Can you imagine them breathing the air you are breathing now? Take a moment to be grateful for those who have occupied this land, or the land where you're living, before you, who have cared for it, tended it, treated it with respect. Offer a word of thanks to them and to Creator for their stewardship and care through the centuries. Ours is a complicated North American history of settlement and colonization. Great harm has been done. Take a moment to feel grief at the pain this has caused through the generations and to this day. On this Sunday of Advent hope, as we acknowledge both our gratitude and our grief, come in touch with the desire within you for reconciliation with all our sisters and brothers and with the earth, and let this be our prayer as we enter into this time together.
Thank you, Doug, for that. And hope you sink into these pews or your couch or your bed, wherever you are, into this place, remembering both grief and gratitude as we come on the first day of the Christian year, Advent, a time of hope and wonder. I just want to point out a couple of things. One is this beautiful background. Isn't it awesome? And you're welcome to come and look at it later. That's a lot of cutting, a lot of pasting. And Mike Collette and Jocelyn Massey from our community did it this week and literally finished it yesterday. So thank you so much for that beautiful piece of art behind us. Hospitality, there's coffee at the back there and refreshments. We welcome you to that throughout the service. We wish that we could offer more, but our building holds us back at this time. So that's the best we can do at this time. Our values are hospitality, spirituality, social justice, and risk. And as an affirming community of faith, we say you belong regardless of age, stage, sexual orientation, gender. These pews, we hope you feel that you belong and you know that this is a place that proclaims you are indeed a beloved child of God. So welcome to this place. Our next slide is an evening, I believe, tomorrow evening. For the next 4 Mondays, 7 o'clock on Zoom. Don't worry about the book at all. In fact, I thought I had the book. I've searched every bookshelf, and I don't know where it is. So if you have my book, please give it back to me. If you don't, that's okay. I'm working around it. But I want to combine two things we did the last little while, and that is Bible study and soul. And they're coming together. You don't need to know anything, do anything other than be able to find your way to this place. And I encourage you to one or all 7 o'clock on Zoom, go to our website. You know, as people talk about Christmas, they talk about the stress and the struggle, and we'll work on soul. So welcome you to that. Next slide, please. I think it's June. I'll invite June up anyway at this time for our asylum seekers. Here's an opportunity we do as a Christmas tree. We want to encourage people to be able to buy their family their own gifts. And so we're looking for gift cards that will be shared at a local school for people in high needs. And so that's your way to say, what is a way to donate here to those in need? And I invite you to that. And June helps us with our asylum seekers, and she has a quick announcement. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to you as a congregation. We've been having racks of coats every Sunday for the last month and a half, and the racks are full again today. So people are being very generous with winter clothing. We've clothed over 70 people that needed help with boots and coats. Next Sunday will be the last Sunday that we'd accept donations and that we're going to be giving out coats and winter clothing. And we'll resume on January 11th just for 3 Sundays. But we figure that some of you will get new stuff for Christmas, so you might, or in the sales, so you might have some stuff to pass on. So that's what's happening for our asylum seekers. And we are having a gathering of our group at St. David's, who has offered their lower gym so that we could have a Christmas luncheon on the 14th. Thank you.
That's important ministry to those who come to us seeking asylum. The next slide up. So I mentioned this last week. We are delighted to have our CBC friends and other journalists in the city come together in our sanctuary. David Gray, Barb Higgins, Tim Tamashiro, Jonathan Love, and Julie Van Rosendahl, with or without cookies. She will be here. An opportunity for you to be in this space for a fabulous presentation and fellowship on the 18th. And there's another announcement coming later in this morning about another one. But this is an opportunity. Think of a neighbor, a friend, a family members. Please come and celebrate in this great opportunity. You got to get your tickets online because, trust me, they will go quickly. And then I think the last slide, our gathering services for Christmas. Again, on the website, 10 in the morning. 4 in the evening, 6 at Living Spirit, 8 o'clock here, 10 o'clock communion. So those are our 5 services on Christmas Eve. Next Sunday is Music Sunday. Invite you to that celebration. And Blue Christmas. If you know someone in your life who's had a difficult year and might like an extra service or a special place to remember those who have died and gone before us or the struggles of life, our Blue Christmas on the 21st of the month. That's a lot. And your job is to share the good news of all that's going on so that you can tell a neighbor, a friend, someone who might be encouraged by being part of this celebration. And we welcome you to our church. I'll invite Eric to come forward. During Advent, we wear things like this purple shirt I found in my closet. And we light a different candle each week, moving our way toward Christmas, where apparently our Christ candle is 1 day short, coming tomorrow. We'll have a huge candle that's lit throughout the year, but we start today with the candle of hope. I invite you to, you can invite your words, and then I'll light at the end. How's that?
John has asked me to speak on hope. How do we find hope in today's world of international chaos, treachery, and outright brutality? Some of it just across our border, aimed at us. Hope is defined as a desire with some possibility or effort behind it. I don't consider myself unique, different from you or those outside our walls. I would expect most of us have had something happen in our lives that has caused us to hope for a better outcome. Hope is different from a wish. A wish is a desire without expectation or control. Hope in the Christian context is not a fragile emotion. It is not optimism, nor a vague sense that things just might work out somehow. Christian hope is rooted in a person, Christ himself, and in the unshakable conviction that God's promises are trustworthy even when the circumstances appear barren. I confess my personal relationship with God has been rocky over the years. Not my belief and conviction, but with those that seem to hold the earthly keys to the pearly gates. I've made mistakes. Some would claim I have pretty much shredded the 10 Commandments. That's a joke, by the way. From a young age, I was always led to believe I was less than, so I bought into the gatekeeper's condemnation. I left the church for close to 40 years. During that time, I never left Christ, and with his help, I overcame my self-doubt. I tried returning to organized church again and found that the gatekeepers were still hard at it, except they hated everyone that wasn't just like them, or at least the people in Christ as they portrayed in public. Gays, non-white, poor, Jews, Muslims, anything that was different than the requirements to join their club was vilified. I believe God knows all. He knew what I had been praying for, hoping for during those 40 years. He knew that the time was right and brought a special person back into my life. Seems she was hoping for the same thing. Through Janice, I found Hillhurst United Church and John Penland. John's message that we are loved, forgiven, set free, no strings attached, hit me between the eyes and embraced my heart and soul. I had never heard that before in any other church. And it actually took me a while to actually believe it. But John persisted. I believe that the heart of the Christian message is that God moves towards us in love, wipes away condemnation, and opens a new way of living. We don't need to hope for this. As Paul said, in hope we were saved. I feel saved, and you should too.
Thank you.
Which one do you want me to do?
I'll let Eric light that candle, and as we do, we rise to sing our Advent hymn, O come, Emmanuel.
Until the Son of God
word Advent has many words associated with it. It means coming. There's a lot of waiting, longing, wondering. It's a time when, if not quite yet, even though we rush doing all the things to make that time come. And I believe that one of the things I encourage you to in this season is to light a candle. And perhaps in the silence of your heart, say these words, but we're going to invite you to sing them now. It's just simply called Kindle a Flame. I invite you to know this in your heart. So as we light our Advent candles and kindle a flame, we also gather together our joys and our sorrows as we come. Give thanks for your leadership this morning. People to remember as we kindle a flame. People, places. Gail, who's in hospital. Remember Bob, who is in hospital. Their name? Margaret, who's a community member who died suddenly. People, places to remember as we gather. Yeah. Thanks for good doctors and nurses and caregivers. Those who have offered their names online, yeah. For a neighbor, Bev, who passed. And also, I remember Maureen, who is in last month's care. Let's gather these names and places.
From online, Melanie, who's going through eye surgery.
And Melanie, we remember those online. Let's gather these names we've said aloud or in silence as we sing Kindle a Flame. Join me with the words on the screen as we enter into a time of our own centering. We continue. God of hope, we come in anticipation. We come in wonder. We come open. Be in our silent meditation as we continue to open our heart and mind, not getting the right words, but simply being in the presence of this place on this land. Open to the Spirit that knows us, loves us, and calls us to life. In the silence of our heart, O God, names and faces come to mind, places of importance, places of memory. Give thanks that all of us are on a journey with twists and turns, in times of wrinkled time, no straight line, a wandering, a wondering. And in that wandering and wondering, you have come to us like a candle lit to remind us that hope remains. We offer these words in a time of a new season, a new beginning. We walk open-hearted. We walk open to your Spirit to guide, to hold, to love, and bring us home to ourselves. Gather all of these prayers as we sing together the Lord's Prayer, words Jesus called us to live. Through this season of scripture and song, you will be reminded in the words sung and spoken that we are loved, we are forgiven, and we are set free. The greatest challenge is for us to actually believe it and then dare to live it, and that's up to you and I. But trust this, God promises to show up. We are loved, forgiven, and set free. Thanks be to God for this great good news. Amen.
These days I've thought a lot. I've thought a lot about the way I feel about you. I've thought a lot. These days I've got a lot of reason to doubt you, yet to live without you. I've never been much of a poet. I never could touch with words like you. I've always just thought that we should say things how we see them. The sun is hot, the sky is blue. But suddenly I'm out of words. I'm out of words. Suddenly I'm out of words. I'm out of words. This is bigger and brighter and wider than I ever knew. Losing is confusing. What once was black and white has turned to gray, all different shades so strange and new. And there's a certain poetry in knowing you, a certain poetry in losing you, a certain poetry in knowing not a single word or phrase could ever do. Not for you, because my former logic won't apply. When it feels like rain and yet the ground is dry. And when I love you, but can't articulate exactly why. I've never been much of a poet. I never could touch with words like you. I've always just thought that we should say things how we see them. But how I see you and me, how I see you and me, you and me. It looks a lot like poetry.
Yeah, and I'm calling you up and I'm calling you out. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. So beautiful, and what a great gift to us. Thank you. I'm so surprised. You're sitting around people who can pop up one week and do that. This is amazing. And here's another pop-up person right here. Ann Yates has some good news to share, I believe.
I think we're going to talk about Tim.
We're talking about Tim.
Good morning. I didn't think I was going to talk to you today until like 4 seconds ago. So Tim Timashiro is one of the CBC people that is performing with David, and also said, hey, I have a 25th anniversary of this album. May I please have an event for you also? So then and therefore, as a result thereof, we have another event. It's actually the next night. It is karaoke, but don't think that you're going to get up and sing. He's going to sing. I said he shouldn't call it karaoke because there will be those people who are going to want to get up and sing, but it's just him. So he's going to come and sing, and tickets are available at .life and or through that QR code. And it's all for a fundraiser for Hillhurst. So the fact that this is happening and all sorts of things are happening and people are just coming to us is the spirit. So just want to let you know this is an amazing, amazing thing. So thank you, Tim. And thanks for calling me up, John.
Tim, you might remember we interviewed him, wrote a book called Ikigai. So you can Google that. He has a podcast called Buddhish. And just a wonderful member of this community, and we give thanks at coming to share what he can for your church, because remember, your church needs help, and so your church is asking you to bring the people you know to your church so that your church can get fixed, and then your church will be here for another 100 years. When we're all dead and gone, your church will be available. So if you come to your church with your friends that night to hear Tim the night before, your church will be really happy. And then we won't have to see
If
Ann
anybody
anymore.
else wants a fundraiser, let's do it in January, February, okay?
Yeah. Okay, we're so glad you're here. This is a break in the service, a chance for coffee and goodies, a chance to light a candle, a chance to make a donation, buy a ticket, kids spaces at the back, and time for you to talk about your church to somebody near you. But most of all, it's about reminding people in this season that peace is possible. Greet people around you, peace is possible. Short break. Welcome to Hillhurst United Church.
Well, good morning. I invite you to stand again. We're going to gather and sing together this piece. Let's go together. It's a welcome song. Reminder, we're all welcome in this space, in this place. And it's a little bit about building together and creating together. Stand as you're comfortable. Let's go together for a while and ask where we begin to build a world where love can grow and hope can enter in, to be the hands of healing and to plant the seed of peace, singing welcome, welcome to this place. You're invited to come and know God's grace. All are welcome, the love of God to share, 'cause all of us are welcome here. All are welcome in this place. Let's talk together of a time when we will share a feast, to pride and power kneel to serve the lonely and the least, and joy will set the table as we join our hands to pray, singing welcome, welcome to this place. You're invited to come and know God's grace. All are welcome, the love of God to share, 'cause all of us are welcome here. All are welcome in this place. Let's dream together of the day when earth and heaven are one, a city built of love and light, the new Jerusalem, where morning turns to dancing, every creature lifts its voice, crying welcome, welcome to this place. You're invited to come and know God's grace. All are welcome, the love of God to share, 'cause all of us are welcome here. All are welcome in this place. Thank you so much. Go ahead and sit down. But we are going to continue in song today. Our scripture reading today is a sung scripture. And I'm going to ask our music leaders to come forward and join me. We're going to put part 2 on this side and part 1 over here. And that prepares you. It's going to be a round. But we're just going to sing it once through as they're moving and learn it together. And everyone neath their vine and fig tree. Flint, do you mind jumping to those lyrics for that? That's the one. Let's sing it together. Come on up to the chancel. Come right here. Stay up here. Yeah. Awesome. Come over here. Put you over there. Perfect. Let's learn it together. Everyone neath their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And everyone neath their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And into plowshares turn their swords, nations shall learn war no more. And into plowshares turn their swords, nations shall learn war no more. Let's sing that again all together, just in unison, and start to learn this. And everyone neath their vine and fig tree. And everyone neath their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And everyone neath their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And into plowshares turn their swords, nations shall learn war no more. And into plowshares turn their swords, nations shall learn war no more. Okay, I think we might know it by now. We're going to split ourselves into two parts. This side here, we're going to be part one, and you're going to start first. And you're going to sing through that whole first half, and everyone neath their vine and fig tree. And then you keep going, and you're going to follow these three, okay? So you start first. Part two, once they're done that first section, we're going to come in together and do it. And we're going to do this 2 full times through. Ready? Okay, part one, you start us off.
And everyone neath their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And everyone neath their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And into plowshares turn their swords, nations shall learn war no more. And into plowshares turn their swords, nations shall learn war no more. Everyone neath their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And everyone neath their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And into plowshares turn their swords, nations shall learn war no more. And into plowshares turn their swords, nations shall learn war no more.
Thank you. I feel like those words are in our bodies now.
Nick? So good. So those are words of Isaiah, and they are the words traditionally read on a day like this. And it's far better to get in your body, and come on up, Nick, in your body and in your heart as you sing those words. I'm inviting Nick forward, Nick P, because I can never pronounce your last name. Panyuka, there you go, forward to be in conversation with us. And this first Sunday of Advent is kind of an odd time because, well, I might as well show you this because they put it up there. Nick and his partner joined Canada about 6 weeks ago. Would you like to welcome him? Suzanne Peterson and I went down for that celebration, and I recommend it. Every Canadian must do this in their lifetime, to go and witness those who are joining our country. There were 85 people from 25 different countries joining the country, and the oath that they recited together, both in French and in English. And the judge who was there was a fabulous woman who spoke about the fact that she grew up in Ireland, her husband from Scotland, and her daughter married an Israeli, and her son married an Egyptian. And she said, our dinner conversations are interesting. But with great humor, the diversity of our country, just invite you to go to that sometime. And it was so great to be there with you coming from the United States and being part of us. Nick is a professor at St. Mary's University in sociology. And we want to share with you some information from the listening circles we had in October. So Nick has got the great skill of helping us make sense of what you said on that day in October. And for those who are here for whom vision may be a challenge, we'll make sure that you get these slides, all of us, online so that you can read them at home, because we are dependent on the screen here. But we wanted to talk a bit about hope and about your church. Remember, you have a church that you participate in. And I want to say something about what you said about your church and how it fits into Advent Hope. And so Nick, thanks for being with us and help us. We've got 10 minutes to walk through this together. We said 1 minute per slide. I will stop talking and invite you to help us get this.
So I will try not to just talk like someone who's from near New York City and talk really quick because I only have so much time, but I will talk at a reasonable speed. So if we go to the next slide. So most of the listening circles were done on October 19th, and it was groups of people coming together, and they were asked 3 questions. Put simply, what brought you to Hillhurst? Why are you staying at Hillhurst, and what are some things you see in the future? We ended up with lots of notes. Over 20 different separate documents were given to me of the notes from the different conversations. And I started organizing and coding the various comments, 500 different things getting sorted different ways. Sorry, that was my fault. And this ends up being very suggestive of what Hillhurst thinks about and how it talks about itself. Not perfect information. I have notes on how different people talked in conversation, and not everyone came to the conversation, and I'm just one guy collating everything. So it's suggestive, but if you excuse the bad pun, it's not gospel. So if you go to the next slide. So as an overview, people were very interested in talking about the importance of community, belonging, connection, coming, showing up, feeling comfortable. This is your home. And it was probably a little bit on the common side because we were asking them about the church, but it was so much and so common that it isn't just because the questions were about the church. There's something about the way people at Hillhurst United Church talk about being here, that community is a central way of talking and thinking. What wasn't as central was very traditionalist understandings of Jesus and God, and a vocabulary built around that. I'm sure there are some churches that are excited to talk about the infralapsarian versus supralapsarian debate of Christology. That is not Hillhurst.
Really? That surprises me.
I know. But, you know, so that's not the vocabulary people use here. People do not ground it in that type of language. They talk in the terms of community and connection. They are at the same time pretty comfortable talking about spirituality, whether it is a relationship with God or a concept of the authentic self, which John likes talking about a lot from Richard Rohr. People are comfortable talking about that, but the general vocabulary about spirituality or a general vocabulary about community is more common than specifically anchored in a traditionalist notion. And then fourth,
keep going.
Yep, sorry. People were very interested in talking about John. Yep. Is it on already? So,
from there, it's worth talking about the leadership at Hillhurst. Hillhurst is very value-driven, and this is something that came through in the discussion groups, the listening circles. One thing that was obvious is that one of the things everyone knows is if you ask people here, what are the 4 values of the church? People know. Hospitality, spirituality, social justice, risk. People know the 4 core values.
That's a really good thing.
Yes, it's very useful to have touchstones.
I always say that, you know, I'd love to do a scan of it, but I bet you people know 3 to 4, and those are on our lips all the time, which is really important in a values-driven church.
Absolutely. And that is embodied very much in the congregational leadership we have. We've, you know, the refugee ministry does a lot of amazing stuff. That is run by congregants. Congregants are very active in other things here, including the affirming ministries, and I could make a long list, but I'm on a short time. And then we also have a staff, and people were not just very complimentary of John, but they also loved the staff in general here. And they liked the staff, and they wanted to make sure the staff were well cared for. This came through in how people talked about things. So people wanted to talk about the leadership here. So if you go to the next slide. So if we have these general ways we like to talk, and if we like to talk about the leadership one way, then we get to talking about community. Some of the things that come through the most and the quickest about how Hillhurst talks about its community. Lots of people like the fact that this is a 7-day-a-week church, that there is lots of programming, that people like going somewhere, that there are things to do, and that there are people they know, and there are personal relationships. And it looks like a sense of belonging isn't exactly the same thing as personal relationships, and people like both. And that's very much here at Hillhurst. In addition to the 4 core values, the other phrase everyone knows is you are forgiven, you are loved, and you are set free. I don't know this, of course, because I just think I mixed up the words slightly, but it's important to have phrases and touchstones people know and can express themselves through, and that comes through also. The listening circles members were generally happy with the trajectory at Hillhurst United Church. No one in the notes was saying, you know what, we need a complete 179-degree change of everything. That's not how people talked. People like the fact that this church has grown over the last 20 years. They'd like it to grow more. People like the sense of community. They want more of it. So that doubling down on what we already have was how people in the listening circles tended to talk about community. And because they care about this place, people wanted to have clarity and trust over the leadership, clarity about what the processes are for moving forward on a few things. We'll get to that in a second. We trust that the finances regarding everything with the building are going well. People want clarity and trust in the leadership at Hillhurst. So that's community. Now, to break this down a little bit more, or to highlight some of the things, this isn't everything, but I grabbed the top 3 types of answers for community for each of the questions. So this is the highlights of the highlights, but it does get across something. People came to Hillhurst because they came and they saw the amount of community or the connection, or they heard about it, or it got sucked in because they had a conversation with John. The web of connection, that was like 3 or 4 people who mentioned that by specifically. But people came here.
I call that evangelism, but carry on.
Yeah, you know. None of that traditionalist talk. But that's a really common thing. And also, again, belonging and connection are not the exact same thing. It's one thing if you've got a couple specific faces you know, and they know you, and they say hi. It's another thing if you can sit in the pew, and even if you don't personally know anyone who came on that Sunday, you still feel like you belong. Those are 2 different, distinct issues. They're related, but they're not the same thing. And then the last thing is, wow, there's a lot going on here. So those were 3 of the most common things about community regarding why people came to Hillhurst. In terms of why they stayed at Hillhurst, it's pretty much the same list: belonging, connection, but then the things to do became even more common. So sociologists like it when there is an obvious continuity in storyline, and we also love it when there's a huge break, because either of those give us a really nice thing to talk about. This is obvious continuity. And then what comes up in the future, we have a different list. And that's the next slide. So people wanted, kind of like they want to have trust and clarity moving forward. You know, people would like to make sure that that Hillhurst continues to be run well. Doesn't sound like a terribly unusual thing to want, but it was something that came up a bit. Another thing that came up was, we like knowing people, we want to know more people. Also kind of makes sense. And then the third one, which also makes sense, is whether it is a concern about hiring new ministers or how long will John be here. That was a common thing that came up too. I agree. So those were some of the highlights of how people talked about community at Hillhurst.
So I can help to shrink that last one down a little bit. You know, this is no surprise to any of you that our building has been a challenge, literally. Mold in the basement, asbestos upstairs, leaky roof over here. Like, our building has been a challenge, and it's a whole question around buildings and how important are buildings. And people came out of COVID saying the building doesn't matter, but the building matters, even though we have our largest congregation is offline or online. 400 people will watch this and be part of our community by the end of this coming week. So online matters. But also we've had staff come and staff who've moved on and left. I also know that when I was putting my name forward to, with regards to the moderator, that caused a bit of panic for people, including myself. And then when it didn't happen, it's been a tough 3 months for me personally, as I've had to deal with what that was about, how that happened, the complications, so mad, sad, glad, you'll remember, and then wondering about my own future. So I can tell you that I'm not going anywhere, okay? So the board know and the staff know that I don't have a date that I am leaving. I'm actually here to help us rebuild. The 4th time I've done it in 20 years. We'll work together because this community has changed at least 4 times in 20 years. People have come, people have moved, people have died, people have shifted. And so the people coming in has changed both the staff and the congregation. And I'm committed to being here forever, in the sense of I will always be present to this community, but I seek to tell you that I will be here. And as a search committee is going to actually refocus to our second minister, as opposed to my replacement. That will help us a lot. It will help me a lot to have someone to work with and share that load. So that 25, hopefully that drops down to at least 10. Because there are some people who've waited for me to say I'm leaving. Sorry, I'm staying. Okay.
So that's what people said. Now, me just wondering out loud, we ended up with 2 more slides. But in terms of what people really like, there were definitely some things that came through. And also, it's very common to have coins have 2 sides. Your virtues end up being the things that create pitfalls. So there are things that are absolutely our assets. You know, we have a place where people feel like they belong. We have a place where people like the lead minister. We have a place where people believe in the staff. And precisely because of all of those virtues, they create certain things we have to make sure we don't do, certain concerns. If you have a place where you feel like you belong and lots of people feel like they belong, it's really easier to get too insular, too inwardly focused, as opposed to asking questions. And some people brought this up. How do we connect with the outside community? How do we connect to the larger community? Sometimes to bring more people in, and sometimes to be good neighbors, and sometimes to try to help others, and sometimes to change the world. But how do we avoid being overly inwardly focused? And I don't have answers to that, but it's something that came to mind as something to worry about. Sociologists like to worry. Just, we're good at it. Secondly, in terms of staff, we need an active staff. We need an active congregation. And bad things happen if we don't have both and they aren't well integrated together. So if people feel very comfortable to the point that they want to let staff do it, that's understandable, but doesn't necessarily always end well. And, you know, there's a difference between being in the pew and being passive and being an active participant in community. It doesn't mean every individual person needs to be active every day of the week, but how as a community do we work with staff? And how do the staff work with us, et cetera, et cetera? Integrating all of that together is something that is necessary moving forward. And it's not one as opposed to the other, it's both. And then third, the more people feel like they have trust in the process of moving forward with finding new ministers and the transition and everything else. And the more clarity there is and the more people feel like they can add feedback, the better off we'll be, because it will deal with whatever anxiety there is. So those are some me going on a limb, basic extensions off the descriptions. But that's me, not you, but it's built on what the listening circle said. So out of all that, if we move to the next slide, the board's already seen all this. I gave a much longer and much more boring version of this to them. The board and the steering committee are exploring next steps for the Living Spirit Center. Staff will review the results in the near future, which means they'll have to deal with a very boring version of this. And the search committee is seeking to add additional ministry positions and assess staffing moving forward. So that's everything I had to rant about, and I am way over time, so I apologize for that.
Okay, you're not over time because we have this part. So what's been shared here is what you said, and the expertise of Nick to say this is what you said, and some sort of statements about what it means. You know, this is really important that we did that work, and we thought it's really important that we share this with you in this way as part of this sermon. And it does fit with hope, because this is a hopeful presentation, would you not say?
Yes, absolutely.
And we had a hopeful turnout. And hope's an interesting part of Advent, because it's about what's not yet. And that's really hard. Waiting is not easy. Yearning can be painful, and longing is part of that hopefulness. And in the biblical passage we talked about transformation, that hope of transformation, of turning swords into plowshares, that transformation. When you think about this and you think about hope, how does hope fit in this for you as a person of faith?
Well, I liked the comment earlier today that hope is not a fragile thing. Hope is grounded in knowing that things are not permanently perfect right now. You need to, the more you are engaged in hope, the more you're aware something needs to be better, something could be better. So that's, not an optimistic version, but it's important to remember that. But the key thing is, hope is what's next? What am I doing next? You do not know what is guaranteed to fail or to be doomed. We are actively working together to find out what happens. Find out what happens when we come together to make the world better, to make Hillhurst better. And the other part of hope is surprise. Don't think we already know everything about what we are supposed to do. We don't necessarily know every opportunity that's going to show up. We're going to be surprised by what works. That's called life. So hope involves surprise. Hope involves being aware that things need to be or could be better, and that's okay. But then the question is, what's next? And we ask that together in fellowship.
I want you to see this quote, folks, on the screen of Walter Brueggemann, who died this past fall, great theologian in the Hebrew texts, first half of the Bible. He says, hope in gospel faith is not just a vague feeling that things will work out, for it is evident that things will not just work out. Rather, hope is the conviction against a great deal of data, thank you, Nick, that God is tenacious and persistent in overcoming the deathliness of the world, that God intends joy and peace. Christians find compelling evidence in the story of Jesus. That's what we are moving toward, that Jesus, with great persistence and great vulnerability, everywhere he went, turned the enmity of society toward a new possibility, turned the sadness of the world toward joy, introduced a new regime where the dead are raised, the lost are found, and the displaced are brought home again. Brought home again. And in lots of ways, this Advent journey is about coming home again. It's a homecoming to ourselves, homecoming to, again, the story of who Jesus was and who Christ is in our life. And it is that journey that we are about in this season of Advent. Can you hand me my phone just to the side of you, down to your right hip? Yep, got it. I turn it off because often my kids call me on Sunday and say, "Where are you?" They'll hate me for that. Okay, I want you to hear the story about hope and the story about community. We know community is struggling here. We don't have a place to have you sit down with people you don't know to have a meal. We know it's hard to get coffee back here. We know we're missing space for natural community. And community is what you not only long for, you may have an echo or a memory of, but it's also something we anticipate. And I believe that churches, if we have a role to play in the world in 2026, we gotta work hard to make and create spaces for community. Carl Jung, psychotherapist, says this: loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. Loneliness is rarely about empty rooms. It's about carrying words you cannot say and truths you do not feel safe to share. Healing is learning to speak what matters most to you, are no longer alone with it. This is the work of letting yourself be seen and known for who you really are. This passage is so important to me, and I'll make sure that you see it. You see, loneliness isn't about people not being around. It's actually you carrying inside you things you need to say and meeting someone and being seen by another. And so if there's a phrase for 2026, it's how can we be seen and know each other if we'd like to? Lots don't, but thinking about loneliness is things you cannot say and that remains in you, that you find places and spaces to be seen and known in community, which is why Jesus first thing he did, gathered people together to be in community. So we begin this Advent journey. And I want to thank you, Nick, for these words and who we are. I'm going to invite Nick to stay here after church and answer any questions that you would like. But this is a community of hope. And this is a place that has not arrived, does not get everything right, but seeks to make those connections so that for all of us, our loneliness decreases and our sense of who we are in the world as a community grows and deepens. And there are people beyond these walls who are waiting for us to be that evangelical voice about your church in the world and why it matters. And so thank you for being part of this conversation. So I'm going to invite us to our, thank you, yeah. The mulling will continue. Remember, they're not there yet. And if you feel a little unsettled, good. That's where you should be. I'll invite you to this final hymn, this Advent hymn. Let us pray. As we leave this place, oh God, this day, we come waiting, we come anticipating, and we journey home, trusting that you will walk with us and welcome us home when we arrive. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, one God, Mother of us all. Amen.